If you listen very closely to this video, I'll teach you 9 things, lessons about life that you need but can't learn in school. So, remove all distractions and watch attentively till the end so you can get as much information as possible to go through life with wisdom and clarity. Take a moment to subscribe before we begin. Let's go. 1. If you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. Asking everyone for advice feels responsible, but it often leads to confusion and bad decisions. The moment you open a personal choice to too many opinions, clarity dies. Each person answers from their own fears, limitations, biases, and unfinished stories, not from your values or long-term vision. They're uncomfortable seeing you take a risk they didn't take. They project what feels safe to them, warning you against trying. The unfulfilled tell you to be realistic. The bitter ones urge caution disguised as wisdom. By the time you hear everyone out, your original intuition is buried under noise. The problem isn't advice itself, it's volume and source. When 10 people weigh in, you don't get 10 pieces of wisdom, you get 10 conflicting incentives. What excites you gets diluted. What scares you gets amplified. You end up choosing the option that offends the fewest people, not the one that aligns with who you are. This doesn't mean you should ignore input entirely. It means you should be selective. Seek advice only from people who have actually lived the outcome you want, who understand your values, and who are willing to tell you uncomfortable truths, not just protect you from discomfort. At the end of the day, you live with the consequences, not the advisors. Too many voices lead to paralysis or regret. Clarity comes when you choose carefully who you listen to and trust yourself enough to decide. 2. If you can't decide, the answer is no. Indecision feels harmless and responsible. You tell yourself you're being careful, gathering information, waiting for clarity. But indecision is not neutral. Every day you delay a choice, you are choosing the default, staying exactly where you are with the same outcomes. A straight yes or no feels different. Even when they're scary, they carry energy, relief, or calm certainty. But a long maybe is usually a polite no in disguise. Most of the time, indecision isn't about missing information. It's about conflict between desire and fear, values and comfort, your future and other people's expectations. It's a form of self-protection. By not choosing, you delay disappointment, rejection, or change. But the cost compounds: lost opportunities, drained mental energy, and weakened self-trust. Life stays in draft mode. The rule is simple: set a deadline for decisions. When the time is up and clarity hasn't arrived, default to no, because yes requires commitment and follow-through. If you're not mostly sure, it isn't a yes. 3. Feeling someone's pain doesn't make it your responsibility to fix it. Empathy is a powerful human trait. It allows you to feel another person's pain, emotionally, sometimes even physically, and connect with them on a deep level. But that doesn't mean you are responsible for solving it. Many people mistake empathy for obligation. They become the listener, the fixer, the rescuer. They absorb endless complaints about toxic jobs, broken relationships, and repeated mistakes. They give advice, encouragement, and emotional energy, only to watch the same patterns continue. Over time, this leads to exhaustion, quiet resentment, and emotional burnout. The issue is not a lack of care, it's misplaced responsibility. True empathy does not require taking control of someone else's life. It means acknowledging their pain without carrying it for them. When you step into the role of fixer, you unintentionally remove their ownership over their choices and place it on yourself. This doesn't help them grow. It delays it. Practically, this means slowing down when someone shares their struggles. Listen without rushing to solve. Validate without directing. Ask reflective questions instead of giving instructions. If advice is requested, offer it clearly and lightly, then step back. When you stop carrying what isn't yours, your empathy becomes sustainable. Relationships deepen, resentment fades, and you remain compassionate without losing yourself. 4. One day, you'll miss the life and body you have right now. At some point in the future, you will look back at this phase of your life with disbelief. You'll remember how young you were, how easily your body moved, how quickly you recovered, and how much time still stretched ahead of you. And you'll realize something uncomfortable. You were already living in the good old days without knowing it. The version of you that exists right now is the one future you will envy most, not the more successful or put-together version you're chasing. This one, with fewer limitations, more energy, and a body that still quietly works without constant negotiation. Most people only understand this when it starts slipping away. Energy drops, joints stiffen, responsibilities multiply, and time feels faster. Appreciation becomes something done in hindsight. Regret arrives early. This lesson isn't about denying current problems. It's about recognizing that even in difficult seasons, there are forms of health, mobility, freedom, and optimism that are disappearing daily. Future, you won't miss money first. They'll miss stamina, recovery, and ease of movement. Gratitude for your current body and moment is the closest thing to time travel you'll ever get. The practice is simple. Pause and notice. Notice how your body feels. Notice freedoms you still have. Notice small joys tied to your current age and energy. Say it plainly. One day, I'll miss this. Then honor it with one small act. Walk, stretch, laugh, rest, or slow down. Not to force happiness, but to reclaim moments before they turn into regret. 5. The man who never makes mistakes is the man who never acts. This quote cuts straight through a common self-deception, perfectionism disguised as caution. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right moment, a better plan, more knowledge, or less risk. In reality, you're avoiding the discomfort of getting something wrong. While you wait, time passes, opportunities fade, skills stay undeveloped, and life quietly shrinks around the version of you that feels safe. The uncomfortable truth is that 0 mistakes almost always mean 0 action. The person who never fails isn't disciplined or wise. They're frozen. They stay in jobs they hate because change feels risky. They avoid asking, starting, or trying because rejection or failure might confirm their worst fears. In trying to protect their ego, they end up sacrificing their potential. Every person you admire followed the same pattern: action, error, adjustment, repeat. Their progress wasn't built on confidence or luck. It was built on mistakes treated as lessons instead of verdicts. Failure didn't define them, it informed them. The difference between growth and stagnation is not talent, but tolerance for being imperfect in public. What most people fail to realize is that mistakes are not just unavoidable, they are the fastest feedback life offers. Avoiding them keeps you blind. Making them sharpens your judgment, and the longer you delay action to dodge failure, the more expensive your future mistakes become. Start small, act before you feel ready. Decide in advance to learn instead of punish yourself. A flawless record leads to an empty life. Mistakes aren't stains on your story, they're what move it forward. 6. No one is coming to hand you the life you want. Instead of planning to get the life you desire, you're sitting there waiting, quietly hoping for rescue. A person, a breakthrough, a lucky break, or a perfect opportunity that appears out of nowhere and finally delivers the life you've been imagining. The fantasy feels comforting because it removes responsibility. But the truth is, no one is coming to save you from your misery. Waiting for someone else to deliver your life keeps you passive. It creates resentment when others fail to live up to expectations they never agreed to carry. It turns potential mentors, partners, or systems into saviors and turns you into someone dependent on timing, permission, or generosity outside your control. The turning point comes when you accept that the architect, builder, investor, and beneficiary of your future is you. This isn't about rejecting help or pretending support doesn't matter. It's about rejecting the belief that your happiness, success, or fulfillment is someone else's responsibility. This mindset shift is not depressing, it's empowering. The moment you stop outsourcing your future, responsibility stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like control. You move from waiting to designing, from hoping to building, from entitlement disguised as optimism to action grounded in reality. I want you to look honestly at the life you want and ask whether it depends on someone else showing up. If it does, rewrite it until it depends on your choices, effort, and consistency alone. No one is coming to save you, and that's good news. It means the authority over your life has always been yours. Stop waiting, start building. 7. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. While many believe the future is shaped by big moments, promotions, luck, relationships, breakthroughs, the truth is the future is built in ordinary days through small choices repeated consistently when no one is watching. You don't suddenly wake up unhealthy, broke, fulfilled, or successful. You arrive there through compounding tiny daily behaviors multiplied over years. The person who wastes hours on distractions doesn't fail because of bad luck. The person who moves their body, eats mostly well, and sleeps consistently doesn't succeed by chance. Skill, health, stability, and confidence are rarely accidents. They are systems working over time. Every repeated action is a vote for the person you're becoming. Choosing comfort over effort reinforces one version of you. Choosing discipline over ease reinforces another. Over time, those votes compound, and the majority wins. The solution isn't motivation or dramatic change, it's precision. Decide what kind of future you want, then identify the habits that future version of you already practices. Start with one habit only and make it small enough to remove resistance. Attach it to something you already do daily, so it runs on autopilot. Track it simply until it becomes part of who you are. The future isn't unpredictable. It's the result of what you repeatedly choose today. Decide carefully. Your future self is being built whether you pay attention or not. 8. Distance yourself from the people you don't want to become. The people you spend the most time with quietly influence your habits, language, standards, mindset, and direction. Over time, their worldview seeps into yours, not through advice, but through repetition. Proximity persuades. Most people understand this, yet ignore it in practice. They stay close to people who are stagnant, negative, reckless, or misaligned because of history, guilt, family ties, or fear of seeming judgmental. But feelings don't change facts. When you remain closely connected to someone whose life trajectory you wouldn't want for yourself, your subconscious slowly starts accepting that trajectory as normal. This isn't about arrogance or cutting people off harshly. It's about self-respect and mental hygiene. You can still care about someone without staying deeply entangled in their patterns. Loving someone doesn't require front-row access to their decline. Staying close out of nostalgia or guilt isn't loyalty, it's self-sabotage. I want you to take an honest audit of the people you interact with most. Ask yourself, if I became more like this person over the next few years, would I be proud? If the answer is no, reduce exposure calmly. Less time, less access, clearer boundaries. Distance doesn't have to be dramatic or permanent, but it must be intentional. The people closest to you are shaping who you're becoming. Choose wisely. Your future self is already learning from them. 9. Don't stay in a mistake. Just because you spent a lot of time making it, you spend years in a career you hate, a relationship that drains you, a failing business, or an identity that no longer fits. Logically, you know it's wrong. Emotionally, walking away feels like admitting all that effort was wasted, so you stay. You tell yourself, I've come too far to quit. But time already spent is gone forever. It doesn't gain value because it was painful or prolonged. Every extra day you remain is a new cost, not a recovery of the old one. Walking away isn't failure, it's correction. Wisdom is knowing when to change direction instead of doubling down on regret. What people rarely admit is that ego keeps bad decisions alive longer than logic ever could. Quitting feels humiliating, so the mind reframes stubbornness as loyalty or perseverance. But strength isn't clinging, it's choosing your remaining time over your past investment. Your future self needs honesty. Leaving doesn't erase what you learned, it proves you learned something. Stop paying for yesterday's choices with tomorrow's life. If you learned something from this video, consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with friends and family. I'll see you in my next post.